At an age of 20, I turned around and swam against the whole stream of fish. I'm talking to people in positions that are earning millions per year. I experienced quite early bullying experiences in school. Knowledge will lead to money, and knowledge and network especially is something so important. And you can, as a young person, can be a mentor in everything.
Hello friends, and welcome to Wisdom Nuggets Unlocked, the show that brings you exclusive interviews with highly successful people in their respective fields who made a mark in their world. My name is David, and besides my own newsletter, Wisdom Nuggets, I'm a blogger and influencer and currently study law in Seoul, South Korea. With that being said, it's my pleasure to introduce you to today's guest. She founded her own startup at the age of 20, which after just 1 year was worth around $7 million. She sat at the same table as Elon Musk, is a TEDx speaker, famous on Instagram and TikTok, and is currently, that's very exciting, publishing her own very first book. So thank you so much for joining us today, Anastasia Barner.
Hi, I'm super excited to be here, and I love the name of your podcast, to be honest. It's so cool.
Many people think about chicken nuggets when I first say the name.
I get hungry. I'm like, I don't want wisdom nuggets. I want chicken nuggets.
So, Anastasia, first of all, before we start, I have a lot of respect for your work, obviously your business accomplishments, but I think on a personal basis, you're a very sincere and humble person, which is not self-explanatory based on all the accomplishments that you've achieved at this young age. So this is as a little disclaimer before we start.
Well, I think to some extent, to be honest, I've met so many people throughout the years that I founded, and even before, thanks to my mom, who has a PR agency. And I think the most successful people that I was able to meet were the most humble ones. And I think that's kind of a secret to success as well. To in German, there's this kind of code where it says I don't know, before after you get arrogant, that's before you will fall down the stairs again. Hochmut vor dem Fall. So it's for everyone that understands German, that was really cool. For everyone else, just what is she talking about? But it's very interesting, because I think you need to stay humble to have some success to some extent, because we cannot forget that we all work together with human beings. Even if we have companies, there's a human being behind it, and there are a lot of people you try to target. So I think it's a secret to success already. So wisdom of nugget 1.
Now, today's conversation, I wanted to split it into 3 segments. The first one, obviously, being about your business. I believe that many people are asking themselves right now, what is the $7 million business that we're talking about? Second of all, kind of connected to your business idea, the role of mentorship and the importance of mentorship in your own life. And lastly, I want to talk about your book, because I think it's something very present right now. And it's super exciting to hear that you're writing and publishing a book. I'm really looking forward to your book. And definitely I'm getting a copy of that.
Yay.
Yeah, let's jump into the first segment, which is your business. As I mentioned before, you founded your own company, your own startup at the age of 20, which is a social startup called FeMentor. And can you briefly explain for everyone why FeMentor's concept is kind of like a Uno reverse card?
So FeMentor is the first reverse mentoring company in Europe. Who doesn't, because that's the question I almost ever get. In the beginning of founding, everybody was like, reverse what? Can you explain that? What is that? Nowadays, more people have heard about this. But a quick introduction to reverse mentoring. It means that you don't only have a mentor you have to look up to and where you learn something from, but we want to meet on eyesight. We want people to learn from each other, especially because we have so many generations in this world at the moment, because we're getting older and older, and people at a certain age don't get an access to us young people anymore. We always see this fight between boomer and Gen Z and snowflakes, what they call us, because we're so sensitive, apparently, just because we're self-conscious and do therapy whatsoever. No, but there's so much judgment that we think meeting on eyesight as mentors for each other, that's how it works the best. And the picture of the Uno card is quite easy, because whoever knows the kids game Uno Uno is it's a great example, because in the mentoring process, you're being mentored as a young person. Great, that's normally where it stops. And with FeMentor, we kind of use the reverse cards. So that means the mentor pulls the card and says, now it's your turn to mentor me. And you can, as a young person, can be a mentor in everything. We have mentors that are mentoring their mentors in social media, in digitalization, in websites, podcast hosting, but also things like finance sometimes, or even cooking, baking. We had one of our mentors who was in the beginning, she was like, I just got single and all my friends are married and in this age group, a lot of kids and whatever. And she just wanted someone that goes dancing with her. So like the mentee went dancing with her, and we have a lot of female matches where people have founded a startup together, or even started projects together, or started working together, even though the age difference is between sometimes 5 to even 30, 40 years. So it's like really incredible to see what's happening in between there.
Well, that's such a cool story that she found a dancing partner.
Well, and she found a new boyfriend, just saying.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
When is FeMentor coming out for the guys?
Well, you guys have Tinder, to be honest. Tinder,
Yeah,
Bumble.
okay. If I understand you correctly, then your platform is like the currency basically on your platform is not money, but basically an exchange of like value and knowledge and experience, right?
Definitely, that's also our sentences on our website, and that's kind of our mission to like go away from this money topic, because there are a lot of mentoring programs, and that's a huge USP that we have at FeMentor, because we're completely free. Like, you don't have to pay as a mentor, you don't have to pay as a mentee. The program is free, and most people are like, oh, how do you earn money? Never mind, we earn enough money, don't worry about it. But like, it's important to us that we can really be given access to mentors all around the world, and we've been expanding since 2022 worldwide. We're in Korea, we're in Dubai, we're in New York, LA, we're in some parts of South Africa. So it's like crazy to see how we has grown in the past 3 years. And to be honest, I think money is a valuable thing, but knowledge will lead to money, and knowledge and network especially is something so important. And sometimes we don't value it enough, that we have a network, and we don't use it enough. We don't ask enough for help. Especially females have a huge issue with like asking for help and admitting that they cannot do everything. And I think that's something that we try to heal with FeMentor.
Your concept of reverse mentoring is the first one, right? I read it somewhere. You're the first one in like Europe. How does it differentiate itself from other reverse mentoring concepts?
Well, the thing is, there are, or when I found it, there were no other reverse mentoring companies, not only in Europe, but worldwide. So like, we didn't know if there was maybe an initiative that did something, but with all our research, there was none. Like 2019, there was no reverse mentoring program. What existed before was reverse mentoring in companies. So like, companies have included it, especially in the US. It's like kind of common to have mentors, and they have like slowly started to integrate reverse mentoring. But in Europe, nobody knew about this term. Like, it was just crazy. And now in 2023, there are more articles about it. People are contacting us. Oh, we would love to make an article about reverse mentoring. So many people are interested in it. And there are a lot of mentoring programs nowadays. Like, I always say to everyone that is interested in finding something similar, don't do it, because there's so many mentoring programs. There's so many female networks. There's so many networks at the moment. And it's crazy, because obviously it's good, because if I cannot identify with someone, a founder or a mentoring program or a network, I can have many options. But still, there's so many in the market, is so overflowed by so many projects, that in the end, it's always small networks, and they're competing with each other instead of cooperating. And I see that as a huge issue. So I think nowadays I wouldn't found FeMentor anymore.
Speaking of founding FeMentor, you founded it, as I said, at 20 years. Like, I'm 21 right now, so you were younger back then. I believe that founding FeMentor at such a young age definitely gave you a lot of respect from your peers, but was definitely also connected with like struggles.
Yeah, struggles more than respect, to be honest.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I wanted to talk about your obstacles and hurdles. Like,
Oh,
what
here
kind
we
of
go.
obstacles, yeah, did you face, and how did you overcome them?
Obviously, not overcome all of them yet, but obviously it's an issue. I think in the beginning I didn't realize how big of an issue it will become in the future. But like, it's like you're a fish in a large ocean, and everybody swims in one direction. They're going to school. I was part of that. I went to high school. You do your high school degree, still swimming with the storm. Then you go to university. All of you go to university. Some are doing I don't know, starting to do internships or whatsoever. So I was still swimming with this kind of crowd. And at an age of 20, I turned around and swam against the whole stream of fish. And I was kind of alone, to be honest. And looking back at it, I was actually quite alone a long time, like a long time period, because you are in a kind of new world, you're in a new setting, you try to find yourself. At an age of 20, obviously you don't know who you are yet. Like, you're closer to it than when you're 14, and you have less issues with your hormones and whatsoever. You kind of figured everything out, or like not everything, but most of it. um, it's hard because also friendships get destroyed. Like, people don't understand what you're doing anymore. People don't understand your issues. I didn't have issues like, oh, I need to write my bachelor thesis. I had issues like, I'm talking about contracts. I'm talking to people in positions that are earning millions per year. I'm talking to CEOs of companies that are worldwide companies. The first company I was talking to was Accenture. I was dying of fear. I was so nervous. My belly hurt, and people were telling me, "Oh, I'm so tired from the party yesterday." Where I was like, "I'm tired because I didn't sleep, because I'm talking about a contract with a company that's amazing, that is huge, that has so many employees," and it builds not bridges. It kind of tears them down. And most of my friends nowadays, to be honest, are 10 to 15 to 20 years older than I am, because that's the normal age girls start or not girls, women start a company. And I was just talking with a friend yesterday who is also a founder, and he's obviously 10 years older than I am. And we talked about that he was dating someone that is younger, or was dating someone that was younger, that was studying, and she was 27, and they couldn't really talk about things. And she didn't really understand his world because she was a student and he was a successful founder. And she was like, "Do you also know normal people?" And it sometimes feels similar to me. And I ask him, I'm like younger than the girl you dated that you didn't get along with. Why can you talk with me on a normal basis, and with her you had to break up? He was like, "Because I think the startup scene makes you grow faster," which is kind of sad at the same time, because you start to struggle. You start to think about issues that you should not think about in an early age. I would love to solo travel. I would love, like what you did. I'm so jealous, to be honest. I would love to go out. I would love to just party, make the experiences that you're supposed to make at this age. But also COVID happened. So we cannot forget about this, that a lot of people were so lost, and I wasn't lost. I had a company to take care of. I was so focused. All the things that I did normally in real life, I did online. So I had always something to do. And that's kind of the positive side to it, I guess. Yeah.
I see where you're going, because right now I think I'm going the mainstream way of like studying and like living my life
But
as
that's
being
great.
as young.
Take
Yeah,
it.
it is. It's
Take
not
it.
bad. I can't
Enjoy
complain.
it.
I can't complain about it. Uh, but I think on the other side, you don't regret it, because like you had to make a sacrifice to get to the point where you are right now.
Oh, don't know if I'm going to regret it when I'm older, to be honest. We don't know this yet. No, I think I will not regret it, but I think friendships and whatsoever that you're building during university is something so strong because you went through the same process. And um, I didn't, because I cannot relate to people in my age. I really cannot. I'm just like, I have such a different life that I'm sometimes standing there and like, that's interesting. I didn't know that's an issue at my age group. So I'm kind of like a outside viewer in the same age group. I'm just like, oh, interesting. That's what you talk about.
You mentioned that normally at my age, for example, you're currently finding yourself, your identity. Would you say that you already have a very good image of yourself, like of your identity?
That's a good question, to be honest. I think I've been in a lot of podcasts. I've been interviewed a lot of times. I was on stage on a few occasions, and I think people create an image about you. So like the more you're in the public eye, the more people imagine who you are instead of talking to you and figuring out who you actually are. So I think there's a bright picture or a painted picture of me on social media. There's a picture of me in people's head, what they think who I am. But I think a lot of people don't really know what is in my head when I'm worried about what, if I'm in a relationship or not, what do I do in my free time? Do I even have free time? So like people
Do
always
you?
see, I do actually.
do,
And I
do.
bake in that free time, and I
Okay.
cook a lot. And I'm like a real housewife deep down in my heart.
Okay, just to make sure, just to make sure.
No, but it's interesting because like tonight I'm invited to a birthday, and the girl that invited me, I don't know her for long, but she's super nice and we got along super well. And she texted me before and she was like, just to let you know, it's a very chill birthday. I know you're always at these fancy events. Just so you heads up, it's not fancy. And I was like, you know what? I sometimes really tired of these fancy cocktail, champagne, meetups, whatsoever. I'm so happy to just go with friends to a place and celebrate you. And she was like, oh, that's great. Love to hear that. So I think a lot of people sometimes forget that I'm still a 24-year-old girl that just likes to be with friends, I guess.
How dare she not invite Elon Musk to her birthday party?
Well, that's something else.
Yeah. I want to switch a little bit to like still to your business, but I'm really interested in your leadership style, kind of, because I have the feeling that I kind of know you a little bit more as a person now. But I read that you have around like 14 employees, and all of them are remote, right? Like they're freelancers that you
I hate
hire.
offices.
Yeah. uh, at least it makes you flexible, and you don't have to pay like any rent or something like that for the offices.
It's not only that, it's I think it's this office culture is to some extent, especially for startups, it's just a first of all a waste of money, but at the second thing it's not really you don't, as a startup, people don't come to you that often. You have to go to companies, you have to go to VCs, you have to go to investors. So like, why should I have an office if I'm not inviting anyone in and I'm always leaving? And I think especially for employees, when the CEO is always gone, they're like, why do we have to work here? And they don't see actually the workload you have. So I don't like offices. I'm not a fan of it.
It's good argument. Good argument. What is Anastasia Barner's leadership style? Are you like a micromanaging person, or more of like chill boss who's like giving them a lot of freedom?
Well, I think when you found a startup, you have to understand why do I need employees? Why do I need people working for the startup idea besides of me? Why do I need to sometimes ask someone else to do something? And the question is easily answered. It's because I don't know what they are doing. I don't know. I'm not good at things that they are doing. So I have someone that is doing our website, for example, since beginning of time, and he's just incredible. And every time I need something, I just reach out to him. So it's like, but it's not on a frequent basis where I'm like, hey, can you do this and that? And that's actually great because it's this availability, and I know I can trust these people. I know that if I need something, or if something needs to be done, it will be done within 24 hours or the time span that it needs to be done. And I think it's easy because some people that have worked with me, I have never met in person. So like
Oh, really?
it's super interesting because some people were not located in Berlin at that time, and they could like work from a different city, a different country, and they could help us expand FeMentor in this particular space. So like it's really cool because then I didn't have to have ambassadors in every kind of city or country. I could have employees that made it big there and were like, hey, I just met someone that could be interesting for us. So like I kind of see so many benefits with it. And I think kind of letting people do what they do best is a great leadership advice I can just give to everyone. Obviously, that not works with a company where you have like 80,000 employees. You cannot just let everybody do what they want to do. But especially as a startup, that's a freedom you have.
Mm-hmm. I think especially after you gain their trust, you can give them a little bit more freedom, because nobody likes to be micromanaged. But at the same time, if you're as a leader, just give them too much freedom, that can be dangerous too, I think. Yeah.
Well, definitely. But you also have to understand, why do you need these people? And for example, I've never looked for a certain position. I never reached out to anyone who was like, hey, we're looking for this and this employee. Everyone that has worked with FeMentor has reached out to me and said they love the idea and they would love to work with me. So like that's a very interesting fact and like a luxury that we have, that so many people reach out to us wanting to work, even men sometimes. Like I think yesterday I received an email. He's like, I love FeMentor. I'm so sad it's not for men, but I would love to work for you guys. So it's just like, wow, like even men who are not our target group, even though I love men, it's not about excluding them. It's more like we as women have to like kind of get on the same level with the pay rise and whatsoever. But they are willing to work for me, and it's incredible. I love it.
That was me who reached out to you yesterday.
I got it. I see you.
No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, perfect. I want to talk more about the mentorship aspect now, and shift the perspective to the role and importance of mentorship. Uh, First of all, was your mother your role model when you were younger, or did you have like a mentor yourself before?
I did have over 50 mentors before I started FeMentor, and all these 50 mentors that I had are FeMentors. So
Wait,
like
wait,
all
50?
50. Yeah.
50 mentors. Okay.
Yeah, throughout my life, like most of them were like friends of my mom or people that coming on a frequent basis or she worked with. And I think a mentor is someone that you learn something from, where you not only look up to, but they also treat you with respect. And I think I was like 13, 14 when I had my first mentor, and I was very blessed that most of my mentors were female. So I was like always surrounded by strong females, and obviously my mom, who I wouldn't quite say she is a role model to me, because I think this kind of image of role models is kind of wrong sometimes. I think it's great to have inspiration, but like having someone you try to become is not good. I was never a girl that had posters in her room or had any celebrity she loved. I was always just like, I want to be me, and I want to make myself proud. So like I always try to like keep the focus on myself and kind of get inspiration from the outside world and get like reflection on how I seem, how I look, how I'm being maybe seen with my personality. And that's something that I was always more interested in. And yeah, I think mentors are a great way to learn not only about business things, but also personally grow. And learning and growing is such an aspect in life that we sometimes lose focus on, because we're so in this wheel of time where we have to go to university, we will have to go find a job, we will work in this job for a few years, then we will get a higher position, we will need to get paid, then we will have babies. So like this wheel of time is just rolling and rolling, and sometimes we're just doing things without really asking ourselves, why am I doing this? What is the happiness part for me? And I think a mentor is someone that can quickly stop and say, hey, look at this, look at yourself, who are you, what do you want, what is this really something you still want to achieve? Like I always want to be an actress, I had mentors that were successful actresses, and I was looking up to them. And then I did a few jobs. I was acting, I was at television shows like Nickelodeon and whatsoever. I did commercials for Snapchat, Deutsche Bahn, and to be honest, I hated it. It was the
Really?
worst. Yeah, I'm not a good actress. When a director tells me go left, I'm like, why? Right would look way better, to be honest. So
Okay,
I'm
okay.
way too demanding as to be an actress, or a good actress at
Mm,
least.
mhm. Can I come back to the 50 mentors? I'm still shocked that you had 50 mentors. What was the reason why you had 50 mentors? Did you struggle with a specific problem and you asked a mentor? Or what was the reason?
So like when I was around when I got into school, I was 7 when I was graduated into school, and I experienced quite early bullying experiences in school, like first in first grade, because I was the lead role in a theater play that our school organized, and the cool girl didn't get it, and then there was jealousy and some bullying, and it kind of started there. So I was struggling with that for like 10 years, to be honest, because
Hmm.
I was in the same school, and the people that I was with in the first school with came to high school with me. So like it was kind of like this thing where I didn't quite get out, and I was always kind of different. I think everybody says that about themselves, like I'm different, or I'm an outstander or whatsoever. And I was always extroverted. I was always loud, and obviously, if you're loud, you're being seen, and sometimes being seen is good, but sometimes it also kind of brings issues with it. And that was something that I struggled with, and I need mentors for that, because I felt like I didn't get along already at that age. I didn't get along with people in my age group because I had these bad experiences at school, and I was just like looking up to those people, and I kind of did reverse mentoring already at an age of 13, 14, because they told me about things, how they dealt with certain things like bullying or with work or what helped them. And I was teaching them how my generation thinks, how we consume social media, because Instagram was quite new there. They really didn't understand what it was. They didn't know what Snapchat was. So like it was so interesting for me to explain them stuff. And that's kind of how I already mentored and got mentored at an early age.
You said you were bullied for 10 years?
Yeah. It was school time from first grade to 10th grade, and then I changed school, and I was like, I'm out of here. Stereotype that it was created by Hollywood movies. The Duff, there's a movie called like that, Designated Ugly Fat Friend. It is about a girl who's bullied because she doesn't have the right looks, because she doesn't have the perfect body type, whatever that is. She wears glasses and so on. And this kind of is the image Hollywood created about people that are bullied. But I think most of the time people are being bullied. And I have seen that, like in the first year that I found a company, I was invited to an embassy, and I think the Swiss embassy was it. And we were having a private dinner with the ambassador, his wife, and a few people from Switzerland that were kind of relevant. And I was sitting there and we were talking about why I started a company. And I was quite openly about my experiences. And I was like, I want to create a safe space, especially for women that are looking for peer partners or who are maybe alone sometimes and who had these experiences. And me talking about my bullying experience led to all the people on the table tell me that they were bullied. So most people that you see in higher positions, or Hollywood stars or whatsoever, Lady Gaga, Selena Gomez, whatsoever, all these Hollywood stars, they got bullied. And I think it gives you a certain strength, and it gives you some consistency in yourself, because you need to always go back to yourself and focus on you and be like, okay, I will stay strong, and this strongness helps you to become who you are later on. So like at the end, I see it as a positive, or not positive, but as a learning experience, definitely.
Do you still see some sort of these consequences nowadays?
In which sense?
Many people who kind of suffered bullying and were victims of bullying before, they develop some sort of like maybe like complexes or some sort of sensitivity maybe
Mm-hmm.
towards people right now in the present.
Definitely, I think a lot of people who have bullying experiences have a high sensitive. Like they can really, they are easily triggered by things, and sometimes things that are not there. I think, but like also with social media presences or even influencers, it's really hard because that's a certain level of bullying. Like there's so many influencers out there, girls that are below 18, young men that are below 18, and they're being bashed in the comments. There, it's so easily. It's never been easier to receive a shitstorm than nowadays. It's crazy, like how easily we are using this cancel culture to like really try to bully someone into a non-existency. And I still see that a lot of bullying is happening very easily and very hidden behind social media accounts that are not presenting you as a person, but like a fake account or whatever. So I see an actually huge issue with that, because the new generations, there's more and more technology, more and more accessibilities to things where there's no police, because police is not, there's no online police, you know.
Yeah, and it's so easy as a keyboard warrior to just type a lot of bullshit on the internet, I
Definitely.
think. Okay, let's get to more positive things. I think
Everybody's already depressed they're like, I thought this is wisdom nuggets, not depressive nuggets.
no,
I'm sorry guys, it will
I
get
think
better.
it's actually inspiring. I think it's inspiring that knowing that you come from a place of like experienced so much pain in your childhood and now being super successful in so many areas. So I think it's you should take it as fuel for keeping going. Um, what I wanted to ask you is obviously you had a lot of mentors, but for all the people who are not Anastasia Barner and who don't have access to a huge network from the beginning, how would you like contact your mentors? How did you provide value to the mentors so that they help you out? Because the mentors, they don't owe you anything. You need to exchange some sort of value first before they would accept you as a mentee, I would say. So do you have like any tips in that regard?
Well, obviously you have to stand out. Like there's so many people who are texting successful people that the DMs are sometimes loaded. Like there's so many people reaching out to them. So there's a small gap between stalking and trying to get in contact with this person on a normal level. I think it's like offering something, because most people just want to take. So they're like, hey, I received this message a lot. Like, hey, Anastasia, I would love to receive this and this contact. Could you make an intro? That's one of many emails or LinkedIn messages or Instagram messages I get on a daily basis. And what I love is when someone texts me, "Hey Anastasia, great to connect with you. I am a startup founder. At this certain point, I don't know what I can give to you, but maybe you need help with anything. I have a network. My university is looking for a mentoring program. I would love to connect you. And by the way, would it be possible for you to make an intro? Maybe I can give something back in the future." So like these kind of offers make the humanity aspect way more present. I think it's this, not only the feeling of not being used because of your network, but also like trying to kind of have this exchange of something. It's like money, you know, your network or your knowledge. And sometimes it can be something like your university. Maybe your university is looking for a guest speaker, so offer the person you're reaching out to make an intro to your university. Maybe you have worked in a company before. Maybe you're good at researching, so like you can offer your help with a certain topic to research. So like these kind of things are so interesting. Or there's, I think what I always do when I give talks or workshops, I always ask the questions. It's like, what are you good at, what do you need, and who do you need? So like, or who or what do you need? So it's kind of interesting to really write down everything you're good at. It can be everything from baking, cooking, researching, stalking on Instagram, well, whatsoever. It can be any kind of skills, and just write everything down. Maybe it's a language, maybe you're good at piano, and then think about what you really need. Because sometimes in the effect you're like, oh, I need a mentor, but why do you need a mentor? What could this mentor give you? Why do you need a specific person? And who could this person be? Do you need Elon Musk, who is already successful and has the money aspect? Or could a coach be helpful that helps you with your personality? So like really think about applying to a program, but think before which kind of program works for you and what do you exactly need. And there's so many platforms, like I said before, where you can find a mentor. So really use what's around you and use Google, because most people are just lazy and they're not Googling anymore.
I agree with that so much. I think it's so much more appealing if you start off with something that you could offer to that person, because like if they already see that you don't have anything to offer and you just demand things, then it's an immediate turnoff from my experience. So a lot of people are actually very willing to help others. You just have to ask, first of all, that you have to find the courage to ask the people. And second of all, it's increasing your chances of success by like, I don't know, 80% if you can offer at least something. If it's nothing that they need right now, I think it's
Also in the
they
future.
appreciate the gesture. Yeah, they
Yeah.
appreciate the gesture, and in the future, maybe. Yeah. Can you tell us about a specific instance in your FeMentor program and concept where like a mentor helped out a mentee and a mentee helped out a mentor in a very good way, like a good example?
There's so many. That's hard, but I'm thinking about the most frequent one, or the last one the last mentee I spoke to in person. It's funny because the mentor helped the mentee helped the mentor, and then the mentee helped me. So it's kind of interesting, and I will tell the story quickly. So the mentee was applying to FeMentor because she was very unhappy in her situation. The CEO that she had, the person her manager, treated her very badly. She was in a place where she could not get out. She even pursued a lawsuit and whatsoever. And this particular mentee didn't have the strength to leave. She just applied to us and was like, I need help and I need a mentor now. And we found a perfect match for her. We found a mentor that was looking for something similar where the mentee offered something that the mentor was looking for. So these two became a mentor and mentee match. And it's funny because they're not only mentor and mentee after 2 years, they're friends. They visit each other on a frequent basis, even though they live like on the opposite sides of Germany. And they have helped each other in growing. And the one has grown in her business, and the mentor has learned a lot how she can approach and how she can target some groups. And the mentee has left the job and is now in a position where she's super happy. She found her dream job. She is in a position that she would have never applied to if the mentor has not supported her. And it's so funny because in this position that she got, she reached out to me and was like, we are doing a conference and you have helped my life so much. I would love to have you as a speaker to change the life of more people. And I was so impressed. I was like super thankful, and I immediately said yes. I normally have a quite high budget of my talks, and they even paid me like money, not as much as I normally get, but it was still super super sweet because I was like, this is a hard topic for me. And then I went there and we've met for the first time. I've never met her before. We were just online through FeMentor, and she came to me and was like, thank you so much, because without you, I would not have this job that I'm working in today. And then I had really tears in my eyes and was like, thank you, because without you having this job today, I wouldn't be here. So like, it was this kind of picture of really seeing everything goes around, comes around, and sometimes in the most positive way.
Wow, okay. I'm impressed. And I like, again, if you ever make a man version for this, then
I will hit you up.
hit me up. I wanted to ask you also, about you being very present on social media. And I think that is one of your secrets to success, being very active on Instagram and TikTok and leveraging this kind of network to kind of just broaden your network so that the people know what FeMentor is. Do you ever like suffer from social media addiction? Do you ever get stuck into the social media world and lose yourself?
Well, I have in my I'm using notes a lot, and I have this sentence that I always put up in notes. It says, "Don't consume but produce." So like I'm a person that doesn't well, I try to not consume that much, but produce a lot. So like every time I consume something, I try to double it up with doing or posting something. So I'm on Instagram, I'm posting a lot of stories. I sometimes do feed posts, but not that much to be honest. But I try to have people involved in my life, and that doesn't mean that I'm like, hey guys, I'm on my laptop working on FeMentor now. I really doesn't show that side on social media because it gets boring for me too. I'm like, not, oh great, I'm working on my company, but it's more like, hey, I'm going there, I'm doing this, I'm eating this, I'm wearing this, this is what I need help with. Like I have asked on social media for so much help before, and it has always helped me so much. Like contacts, lawyers, whatsoever. It's such a great network, and it's still social in the end. And I use LinkedIn a lot, and I didn't expect LinkedIn to be one of my biggest assets, to be honest. But my TED Talk, normally you have to apply as a TEDx speaker to become a TED speaker. It's a really long process. It takes a long time. You will get coaching and whatsoever, and it's really hard to get accepted as a speaker because they only have like 5 spots every TED Talk. But I was approached on LinkedIn by a TEDx organization that wanted me as a speaker. So like LinkedIn is an easy tool to reach out to people on a higher level or whatsoever. And I popped up on screens of people, and sometimes even people on the street come to me and they're like, I know you from my LinkedIn feed. You're not Anastasia? And I have really long hair. I think the longest hair that any female founder has at the moment, especially in Germany. So like people recognize me from this, and it's so funny how social media can come from the social online world into the social real life. So like social media is a great asset, and you should really use it.
I think that's what you said in the beginning was very good. And I just recently made this mindset shift of stop being a consumer in that sense and more of being a creator. And that gives you a lot more, it frees your time a lot more, or at least you're investing your time in a good sense with social media.
But I'm not going to lie, I'm sometimes spending time on social media, on Instagram, scrolling and looking at my feed, and you get down the rabbit hole, and it's hard to get out sometimes. But yeah.
You mentioned yourself that your mother was in the PR section or public relations section and gave you her network basically, and you yourself call it a privilege to have such a network. Do you think if you would not have had this access to this kind of network, you would still be at the spot you are today?
I think a network, like you said, it's definitely a privilege, but I try to open up this privilege to other people. So like instead of just taking it for myself and saying, oh, great, I have 100 contacts in the book of my mom and I can find a job through it. I said, okay, I can either find one job and leave the 99 other contacts, just leave it there, or I can open up the whole network, the 100 contacts, and give access to it and build my own network. And trust me, like we started with 50 mentors in 2019, and now we have over 2,000. So like our network has really expanded over a short period of time. But yeah, I think it's always hard to ask yourself, where would I've been if this wouldn't have happened, or this wouldn't have been there. Maybe I would have done something else. I think your persona still stays the same, and we come on this earth obviously with a DNA, but still we have personalities and characteristics that are very typical for us. Like if you see babies, some of them are shy, some of them are extroverted, some of them are smiley, some of them are like more critical. So like we already come on this planet with a personality, and I was always outgoing, always loud, always talking to people. Always, as a kid, I always tried to bring people home that I never knew, like even a lot of homeless people where my mom was like, sorry, we cannot take you home with us today. But I think this is just me, and I think if I wouldn't have done this, I would have definitely done some other leading role probably.
Okay. I want to finish this sector of the mentorship with one last question that I find very interesting. If you could pick one more mentor, dead or alive, whoever, who would you pick and why?
Oh, oh man. To be honest, I don't know. That's a question. There's no one that, like I said earlier, I always try to focus on who I'm going to be in the end of the day, and if I like looking in the mirror, not because of how I look, but what I've did today. And I have so many people that I meet on a daily basis that I love, that I look up to, and that I can talk to. That it would be unfair to say, oh, this one person would be my highlight, because I think, there's so many great people outside, and sometimes even the person on the street that smiles to you and you have a quick conversation can light up your day, and that's something even better than having a mentor that explains you how to be successful in 10 days.
So it's not Elon Musk. Okay. I
Definitely
just
not.
wanted
No.
to clarify this.
No.
Okay.
Having dinner with him, a great, nice human being, but no, I was never a fan of Elon Musk, and yeah.
All right. Thank you so much. We talked about your past up until now. So let's talk about your present right now. You're
Mm-hmm.
currently writing on your book. I think you've been writing on your book last October, right?
Yeah.
2022.
Well,
Okay.
I signed the contract back then. I started actually writing in December actually, beginning of December. And I finished 50% within 2 months of the book. I have about 100 or 100 something pages already. But yeah, I signed in October.
When do you think will you be done with the book? Like when in 2023 can we
Well,
expect?
I wish I would have the choice to say, oh, I don't know when I'm going to be done. I will have to be done in June, and the book will come out, I think, in September or between September and October, because the book fair is happening in October, and I'm going to be a speaker there again. I think I can announce it. I hope I can announce it because, whoo, spoiler alert. No, I'm quite happy because I have a really great publishing house. And to be honest, when I was 14 years old, I wrote a bucket list. I wrote everything down for like the time span. I was like, I want to go to Justin Bieber concert. I want to give a TED talk. I want to found a company. I want to fly private jet or helicopter or something was on there. I want to kiss a pop star. I want to write a book. So like there were so many things that I wrote on this list. And last year, I think when I was around 23 something, I found this bucket list again, and I looked at it, and everything on this bucket list I ticked off at an age of 23. So like
Damn.
it was really incredible because it was quite of a long list. And I, with signing the book contract, I signed off or ticked off the last thing that I wanted always to do. And actually, I wanted to write a book when I'm like 36, pregnant. I have the time to write a book and be in this mommy flair. But the publishing house reached out to me and said, we would love to have you as an author, and we're opening up a new field, and we would love to have you as a lead of it. And I was just like shook, and I was like, yes, I'm part of the yes saying club, and I definitely said yes to that one. And now I'm writing it, and I cannot recommend writing a book. It's a lot of work. I always thought it's going to be a lot of work, but it's going to be fun. Yeah, it is, but it's fucking a lot of work.
Yeah, I can imagine. I can imagine.
So if you do it because you want to publish a book, or you're just like, oh, I want to have this on my CV, then don't do it. Because I've realized staying motivated to write a book definitely helps when you have a passion for it. Like I'm writing about the startup scene and kind of revealing a lot of things that have not been revealed yet. So for me, it's like it's a passion project, and I love doing it. I'm not writing a book for the sake of writing a book. I'm writing a book because I want to really give insights. I want people to know more. I want people to like know things that I didn't know back then. So kind of like a handbook. Yeah.
Can you, I don't know if you're allowed to reveal that, but can you reveal a
Me
little bit
neither.
more about what readers can like expect from your book? Is it the process of founding a startup, or?
No, there are like so many process of how to found a startup and how to be successful in 10 days and how to become a millionaire and how blah, 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 blah. There's so many books and handbooks on guides on how to start a company. It's definitely tips. It's for everyone that is a founder or is willing to become a founder or who's just interested in the startup scene, because there are a lot of stories in it that, like I said, have never been heard before. And I'm talking to some people that I'm quoting in my book that have never given interviews before, and they're owners of companies that have been sold for more than millions. And it's super interesting because this book it's like a story. It's like following up with the life that I lived in these years, and really explaining how to get there and what to look out for, and if you want to become a founder, what to kind of not do or do. So it's not a tip on how to become an investment or like get an investment or how to get access into this world, but it's more like, do you want to come into it? And I think it's really good if you ask yourself, do I want to be a founder or not? And do I want to be a freelancer or not? So like these kind of questions are being targeted.
So what is your ultimate goal with that book? Just to give people a deeper insight into your life as a startup?
Well, it's not about Anastasia as writing a book about Anastasia. It's more like a book. Definitely, there's a chapter where I'm explaining why, who, and what I am. But most of the things are I want people to understand, and I want people to know what they're getting into, because I think nowadays there's so much pressure on us to be successful young, found a startup, but have a happy life, have a work-life balance. And there's so much pressure, and we always see on social media, there is so much further than I am. They have won prizes, they're Forbes 30 under 30, they did this, 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 this. So like, I want to kind of have this book for people that feel this pressure. And I think 99% of us feel this pressure, have this imposter syndrome, are worried of our future. And I want this book to be there and kind of be a comfort, like a good homemade soup where you can just slurp it up and be like, I feel good after this. I feel better, either better because I decided to do it and I finally got the last push that I needed, or because it takes the pressure off of you. You're like, okay, I have 10 more years where I can do this, or I don't have to start a company because I don't have the right motives for it.
Is the book right now the number one priority in your life?
I never have my number one. I love multitasking. I have so many things. Obviously, it's on the top 3 at the moment. But it's never just one thing that I'm focusing on. Sadly, I wish I would.
So what does your writing process or a typical day in your life look right now? You wake up and you immediately write, or?
No, I wish. That's the thing. I wake up, I drink my 4 cups of tea. I think I'm at cup 4 now. I do calls, meetings, kind of see what I have to do the whole day, what kind of meetings I'm having. Then I'm doing some emails most of the time. I have like, I think 250 emails waiting for me today. And every time I'm like, I have a little break, I'm writing. So like, I'm not forcing the writing process. It's more like every time I have an idea, I write something down. So sometimes when I talk to people or I'm in the middle of a conversation, I'm like, hold up, I need to write that down for my book. So I'm like really an unfriendly person the next few months, I guess, because I'm always interrupting people. I'm like, can you say that again? Or can I quote you? So like going out, meeting people and going to events is a great way for me to write a book, because I'm not stuck at home and trying to get inspiration out of me. I'm getting inspired by my surrounding, and that definitely helps me.
I think that's a very smart way of you to write a book. Because like how I imagine it to be is that you get these lows where you are just sitting in front of your laptop or your PC and you just don't know what to write, but you get inspiration from outside and you immediately try to incorporate it in your writing process. So it's
Totally. Like yesterday, I was with a startup founder. We had like a first meetup, and she was so inspiring. She worked on Wall Street in New York during the .com bubble, and I'm writing something similar about it. So I was like, "Can I quote you on this?" So it's just like I think life sends me all the people that I need at the moment. So it's great.
Can you describe, this is the last question, what the highlights and lowlights of writing your book, writing process have been up until now? Can you like name several highlights as well as lowlights of writing your own book?
So highlights, you're writing a book. Jesus, you're writing a book. Understanding that
Okay,
you're really becoming
mic
a
drop.
writer. Mic drop, that's it. Creating something with your hands, like seeing pages and pages of your writing and your creativity. Then obviously putting something out there that will last. I think all of us have this thing or thought process where we're like, I want something that stays after I'm gone. And a book is something like this. Like a book is something that will stay over time and will stay beyond death. So like it's something that you're creating for a lifetime. And I hope I'm still going to be proud of my project in 50, 60 years where I'm like, yeah, I still can identify with that girl. And if not, it's my first book, so you never know what's coming up next. And I think it's also like reflecting a lot. So like it's a lot of self-work. I think a book, especially if you write something about things that you experience, you reflect on a lot of things that have happened, that you have seen, and that's super interesting on growing as well. And the downsides, you're writing a book, so it's a lot of work. It's,
Okay, mic drop.
don't underestimate the work, and also like the responsibility you have, because people are paying for this book. So like write something good, write something that is really valuable, and not something where you just like, if you go to a networking event, talk to people. Great. That's not a book I
Yeah.
would pay for, because that's knowledge that I definitely know, and that I can just Google. So like, try to really do something good about it, that are new impulses for other people. And of course, a lot of stress comes with it, because you're not only writing a book, you still have a social life, you have work, you have so many things on the side if you're not a writer on a professional basis. So that kind of balancing that out is sometimes a bit hard.
Okay. Thank you, Anastasia. Wow, we've covered a lot today. Business, mentorship, bullying,
Books.
and books. Yeah, thank you so much
Of course.
for joining us today. And guys, please buy the book and spread it on social media. I think it's gonna be good. I'm looking forward to it.
I hope so.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Anastasia.
Thank you so much for the invite. It's great talking to you.